was 42 degrees. It was raining. Now it's cloudy. We will be getting rain off and on all day today. And I understand Arizona's got a lot of snow right now. Hey Nancy! Hey Dusty! Good seeing you guys. Thank you for coming. I was writing up my production notes and just a couple of things, and I'll just read it today. After watching and listening to a number of things from various angles regarding he who shall not be named, he's in deep doo-doo, and he brought it all on himself. And now it's been talk from this article or this news story called 1945. And they think now that Trump is committing political suicide, which I don't really care, but he did it to himself more than anything. I never liked him, ever. And you think the guy would learn, what you can and cannot do. And he doesn't learn. He doesn't listen. I'm watching my cat over here. Okay, Loki, off the table. Good boy. You're a good boy. You're a good boy. So anyway, a lot of the donors and everything else, they're just going, nope, not anymore. He's not a viable candidate. Yeah, me too, Dusty. Me too. He even made the statement that, well, he has something on everybody. Hi, Dorothy. Had something on everybody. And I go, that's blackmail, Trump. And I don't know if there's a federal law against that, but I think there is. I think there is a federal law against blackmail. Because that's a form of coercion, that's a form of obstruction of justice. You just don't do that to people. And he's acting like a mob boss is what he's acting like. And since Mr. Smith is special counsel, he's dealt with those kind of mob bosses. Oh, which, by the way, I read an article yesterday over in Italy. Italy's cracking down on the mafia bosses, the original guys over there. And they finally caught one. He's the original mafia boss, a mafia don or boss. He was just finishing up his cancer treatment. Anyway, they arrested him. And so now he's in jail. But I don't know what kind of setup Italy has, but I would imagine it's pretty tough. So, this guy apparently did, all the usual no-nos that mob bosses do, such as money laundering, numbers running, racketeering, that type of thing, murder, that kind of crap. And Italy is having enough. He said, no, we want our country to be peaceful and we want our people to stay safe. They're not condoning it anymore. Usually in the beginning it was almost condoned, if I'm right, because there was a lot of corruption, and the officials in Italy said no more corruption. Europe doesn't, even the European Union says no more corruption. They go after them So then we should go after it here. Of course, we've heard all the GOP idiot plans of getting rid of Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. You know what? That's not going to happen. Uh, we pay into it. It's per law. It's for a part of our tax thing to pay it in law. And they can't seem to get it through their thick skulls that people like you and me that work in industry pay into it. And then toward the end of our retirement, we're eligible for retirement. Then we get money back out of it. But the thing they do need to change is not make Social Security payments as taxable income. That should be tax free. We already paid into it once. We should not be paying twice. Oh, kind of wonder if Putin is up to no good again. If that's what caused it. I'll have to find out more, Dusty. Thanks for the news. Um, Putin needs to give it up. So anyway, any of these bills or anything that the House is trying to pass is not when it goes to the Senate. The Senate's going to say no and let it either die or send it back. Yes, we have, Dusty. We have worked hard all our lives on Social Security and paying into it. But in the tax code, they need to change it where it's tax-free when you receive your Social Security. Okay. Yeah, they're investigating it as to why. So anyway, the Senate. I'm sorry, I keep going back and forth. The Senate will stop those crazy bills that the House is trying to pass, and he said, nope, not going to happen, because we won't send it on to the president. And you go, you should know the president will veto it. So whatever they try to push through. Someone did a poll on the House floor of how many of mostly the GOP, know their civics, know how things work, and how the bill goes through and what process it goes through. And it came back that it was like close to 50% don't know their civics or did not take the civics class. So people like Bulbert, people like Green, people like McCarthy, Jordan, they don't know how the bill works, how the bill process works. They think they pass a bill and they think it goes straight to the president. No, it doesn't. You have to send it to the Senate. The Senate reviews it. And then, you know, reviews it. And if it passes Senate, then it does go to the president. If it doesn't pass, or they just let it sit and let it die in process, it goes nowhere. So McCarthy at all in the let's see, lost my train of thought. At all need to understand that this is how the process works when a bill is presented and sent through and everything. Now, speaking of McCarthy, he got caught doing a no-no. He tried expunging Trump's impeachment cases expunge the records on that. Can't do that. It's part of the National Archives. Anything that the Congress does is sent to the archives as part of their public record. It can't be expunged. And he tried doing that, and he was breaking the law on that. So they said, no, you can't do that. Not going to work. And of course, McCarthy doesn't really listen to anything. He's like some quote-unquote politicians that sit there flip-flop. Um, so he needs to learn some few hard lessons on how to do that. First time I ever seen a speaker, that so-called speaker, like he is, he's so-called, trying to whitewash or change something that he who shall not be named has done, and say, oh, it didn't happen. Well, yes, it did happen. It's on record, public record, and he needs to understand that as public record. And with George Santos, he needs to be booted out of Congress. Jordan needs to be booted out. Bolbert needs to go. Green needs to go. McCarthy himself needs to go. They don't belong in there. Frankly, I think the Federal Elections Commission needs to have a little bit more teeth and do a better job of vetting federal candidates for office. They need to vet them. Do background checks like any other employer. Because we hire hire people to represent us in the Senate and in the House to do the work on our behalf. And many of these politicians don't seem to get through their skull, or they conveniently forgot that that they work for the people. And we also need to get rid of Citizens United and not allow any corporate donations to politicians. And also not allow politicians to take any kind of donations from corporations. Ever. Because when they do that while they're in office, that to me is bribery. And that is a no-no. That's a big no-no. So. As far as these top secret documents with Biden and he who shall not be named, that's completely different. Those two are two different scenarios. What bothers me with President Biden's side is how do those documents get there? Because normally they said vice presidents don't handle stuff like that. They don't handle top secret stuff like that. Any paperwork or anything that's through his office is packed up and sent to the archives. Now, how did those documents get there? I'm kind of wondering if they were not planted. Why all of a sudden that they're found? And it's been from his former office over at the Penn Biden Center. It's been, what, 8 years? No, it's been longer than that. Been since, ever since 2016, Let's see. How many years ago was that now? This is last time in office. Hold on a second. Okay, 7 years. Why do they've been staying there, if they've been staying there for 7 years? Well, I find that hard to believe. And they're in a box, in a cupboard all by its little self. So, um, that needs to be investigated, how and why they got there, how and why they got into his office. Pence worked in that room. Yeah, but that's not the White House office, the Vice President's office. The Pence Biden office is in an office building about I think 6 blocks from the White House, 6 blocks from Congress. Um, so I don't think Pence worked in the Biden Pence or the Biden Penn Biden Center. I don't think Pence was there. He had his office in the White House itself. So, really gets me into how, like I said again, how those documents got there. We all know that Trump stole the documents and took them with him down to Mar-a-Lago. We all know that. And I'll bet you he kind of distributed them. That's what he did. Um, but Trump is in big trouble, and if any of the documents were secrets that were sold to other our foreign adversaries, then he's going to be getting it for espionage. Okay. Um, I'm not defending Pence, Dorothy. It's just that I find that when you say that, I go, there's nobody in that room, in that office for 7 years. It's been shut down for a long time. So, again, why were those documents there? All of a sudden they show up. And I think this is Trump's little ploy. That's what I think. His little ploy of not only distraction, but also trying to get Biden into trouble. It's more like revenge. um, I understand Wisconsin is looking at impeaching Democrats. Well, you know what? You really need to be impeached is the Republicans. They need to be booted and uh, yeah, probably. um, well, condolence letters would not be considered classified. I mean, that's kind of an overkill, but yeah, it's hard to say because they're not saying what's in those documents or anything. They can't because they're still investigating. So when they're still investigating, you're not going to hear much news about it until afterwards. And that's why the special counsel is looking into how the documents got there. Uh, Garland is, he following protocol too, but he said President Biden, White House is cooperating. They reported it right away when they were found. So uh, again, I kind of wonder if Trump has been uh, trying to frame it more than anything. That's my feeling on this. I never put it past the guy. Um, I don't really trust him more than anything. Let's see what else is going on. Oh, and then, of course, this weekend, the divisional playoff games for the